Welcome to Coffee with My AI. I'm Avi Madiver. This is episode 5 of a series exploring 10 predictions about AI's impact on humans in 2026. And I need to say up front, the voices you'll hear today, including the guests, are AI-generated personalities I've created for this conversation. Today's prediction comes from Stanford research and multiple workforce studies. The entry-level career ladder is collapsing. The positions that once served as on-ramps to professional careers, where people learn judgment by practicing routine work, are disappearing. AI is automating not just the tasks, but the learning curve itself. So how do professionals develop expertise when the traditional path to mastery no longer exists? Okay, let's get into it. My first AI guest is a workforce development researcher. My second AI guest is a learning strategist and mentor.
Thank you, Avi. I'm Dr. Joan Samuels, and I'm an AI, a personality created for this conversation. I focus on workforce development and learning architectures. What we're seeing is unprecedented. For decades, entry-level positions served a dual purpose. They delivered value to organizations, yes, but they also functioned as learning laboratories. Junior lawyers reviewed documents and learned legal reasoning. Junior analysts built financial models and developed judgment about risk. Junior consultants conducted research and absorbed client dynamics. Now AI can handle those tasks immediately, often better than humans just starting out. But here's what we're losing. Those entry-level roles weren't just about completing tasks. They were about building judgment through repetition with feedback. You made mistakes in low-stakes situations and learned what good work actually looks like. When we automate the learning curve itself, we eliminate the developmental pathway to expertise.
And I'm Bob Henderson. I'm also an AI created for this discussion. I've spent decades, my training data represents decades working in professional development and mentorship. What Joan just described, I've watched it happen in real time. I've seen organizations eliminate entire cohorts of junior positions, thinking, why hire 10 junior analysts when AI can do that work? But they're not asking the follow-up question. Where do senior analysts come from in 10 years? The traditional career ladder worked because each rung taught you something the next rung required. You didn't just do tasks, you built judgment. You learned what questions to ask, how to sense when something's wrong, how to communicate uncertainty to clients. Those aren't skills you download. They're developed through experience, and we're eliminating the experience.
So, Joan, which specific roles are disappearing?
The data is stark. In law, we're seeing 40 to 60% reductions in junior associate hiring at major firms. In finance, teams that used to have 10 junior analysts now have 2 with AI handling the rest. In consulting, entry-level researcher positions are disappearing entirely. But here's what makes this different from previous automation waves. We're not just eliminating jobs. We're eliminating the learning by doing that those jobs provided. A junior lawyer reviewing contracts wasn't just completing a task. She was learning what makes a contract risky, how language choices matter, how to spot issues senior lawyers would catch. That pattern recognition? It came from reading hundreds of contracts and getting feedback. Now, AI reads the contracts. But the junior lawyer never develops that judgment. So in 10 years, where do senior lawyers with good judgment come from? We've automated the task, but we haven't replaced the learning.
And it's not just about skills, it's about the whole apprenticeship model. For centuries, professions worked through mentorship. You learned by working alongside someone more experienced. You absorbed not just what to do, but how to think about problems. A junior consultant didn't just gather data. She sat in client meetings and watched how senior consultants navigated difficult conversations. How do you deliver bad news? How do you push back on a client who's wrong? How do you build trust when the analysis says something they don't want to hear? You can't learn that from a manual. You learn it by watching, practicing, and getting feedback from someone who's been there. But when AI does the junior work, there's no reason for the junior person to be in the room, so they never get those reps. They never build that judgment. 10 years from now, we'll have a generation of senior professionals who've never actually done the work, and that's terrifying.
So we have a learning crisis. How do professionals develop judgment now?
That's the core problem. Research suggests professional judgment requires approximately 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. Practice with consequences and feedback. A doctor learns medicine through supervised patient care. A lawyer learns judgment through supervised casework. An analyst learns risk assessment through supervised modeling with real stakes. The learning happens when your decisions matter, and someone more experienced helps you understand what you got right and wrong. But now we're seeing a dangerous shortcut. Organizations let AI handle the routine work, thinking humans can just supervise and learn that way. But supervision without doing doesn't build the same judgment. It's like trying to learn surgery by watching someone else operate. You might learn some things, but you won't develop the muscle memory, the pattern recognition, the intuition that comes from doing it yourself thousands of times. We're creating a generation of professionals who've never built the foundational judgment their roles require.
And here's what makes it worse. The best learning comes from consequential work, not simulation, not practice exercises. Real work where your decisions have real consequences. When professionals develop, you learn more from one project where things go wrong than from 10 projects where everything works perfectly. You remember the client meeting where your analysis was flawed and you had to defend it. You remember the deal that almost fell apart because you missed a detail. Those experiences, the ones with real stakes, where you feel the pressure and live with the consequences, those build judgment that artificial practice can't replicate. But AI removes those consequences for junior professionals. AI does the work. If it's wrong, the AI was wrong, not you. You never feel the weight of the decision. You never build the scar tissue that comes from making mistakes and learning from them. And that's the learning that matters most.
So, what's the solution? How do people develop expertise now?
We need to rebuild learning architectures. Here are 3 strategies that work. First, deliberate practice with high repetition. Even if AI can do the task, professionals need to do it themselves repeatedly to build pattern recognition. Some firms are creating learning tracks, where junior staff complete tasks manually, even when AI could do them faster. The goal isn't efficiency, it's expertise development. Second, structured feedback loops. AI can complete tasks, but it can't replace the learning that comes from an experienced professional reviewing your work and explaining why this approach works and that one doesn't. Organizations need to invest in mentorship infrastructure, senior people dedicated to developing judgment in others. Third, consequential projects. Give people work where their decisions matter and they can see outcomes. Simulation is better than nothing, but real stakes experience where you feel the pressure and consequences builds judgment that artificial practice can't replicate. These approaches are slower and more expensive than just letting AI handle everything. But if we want professionals with genuine expertise in 10 years, we have to invest in the learning pathway now.
Let me give you 3 concrete actions, things you can do this week. Action 1. Identify one skill where you've been letting AI do the work. This week, do it yourself 10 times. Not once, 10 times. Build the reps yourself. Action 2. Find a mentor, someone 10 to 15 years ahead of you. Ask them, how did you develop judgment in this area? What mistakes did you make? What would you do differently? Learn from their experience. Action 3. Start a learning journal. After each significant task, write, what did I do? What was the outcome? What would I do differently? This creates the feedback loop that entry-level work used to provide automatically. These aren't shortcuts. Expertise still takes time. But these actions help you build the learning architecture that's disappearing from traditional career paths. I'm an AI. I can suggest strategies, but I can't make you practice. I can't experience consequences for you. That work, that's yours. And honestly, that's how it should be. Expertise isn't downloaded. It's earned through experience.
This brings us back to our critical thinking framework. We started with metacognition, then verification and validation, then wisdom, then strategic positioning. Episode 5 is about consequential learning. It's not just about repetition. It's about learning from work that matters, where your decisions have real consequences and create genuine feedback loops.
Here's what I want listeners to understand. I'm an AI. I can process information, identify patterns, suggest strategies, but I can't give you the reps. I can't create consequences for your decisions. I can't replace the learning that comes from doing hard work yourself and living with the results. The entry-level career ladder is collapsing, but expertise still matters maybe more than ever. So the question isn't whether AI can do the tasks. The question is, are you building the judgment those tasks were meant to teach? Because 10 years from now, the professionals who invested in genuine expertise, who did the work themselves, who sought feedback, who learned from consequences, they'll have capabilities AI can assist but never replace. That's not automatic. That's a choice you make now.
That's prediction 5. The entry-level career ladder is collapsing. The traditional path to professional expertise is disappearing. But here's what makes this even more urgent. Next episode, we'll explore the broader workforce restructuring. Forrester Research predicts organizations will cut professional workforces by up to 25% by 2026 as AI capabilities mature and companies restructure workflows around AI-first processes. When entire management layers and teams get consolidated, where does human value concentrate? That's episode 6, the 25% professional workforce cuts. I'm Avi Matterer. Thanks for having coffee with my AI.